We've got to talk about the Democrat Party in the midterms next year because, whoa, this might get very interesting. And I want to start off by playing this clip from Nancy Pelosi, who's actually retiring, which is quite interesting. I wonder if she'll still be stock trading, if her stock trades will still be skyrocketing. That'll be interesting to see. But she said something that was quite interesting. Now, I expected nothing less, but we're gonna hop into that. But then we're also gonna get into some polling numbers that I found that were quite interesting, as well as something that's been happening with the Democrat Party that I've been talking about sparingly. But now Democrats are saying it themselves, so you know it's actually true. With that being said, let's dive in.
So if the Democrats win the House back,
No. When? When the Democrats win the House back, then we will.
so how does the next Democratic Speaker of the House deal with Donald Trump? What would be your advice? You've been
Be
there, you've done
yourself.
it.
Just do your own thing. Just be yourself. Hakeem Jeffries is ready. He's eloquent. He's respected by the members. He's a unifier, and he will have.
You have
his
no
own
doubt
path.
it will be Hakeem Jeffries.
None.
And I mean, do they go into investigations? Do you have more impeachment, another impeachment round, or do you try to deal with him and get something done on all the other issues?
Get something done with him on
Yeah.
all the other issues?
Yeah.
Well, I think what you do is, it's hard to get something that he will sign because of the problem that he
Right.
has. But you can hold up some of the things that they may put forth.
So
Of
you
course, they have the
block him
power of the
from-
purse.
Yeah.
We have the power of the purse. He cannot. But right now,
Yeah.
the Republicans in the Congress have abolished the Congress. They just do what the president insists that they do. That will be over.
So that ends
And
as soon as you have a
that
Democratic
ends as soon
Speaker.
as we have the gavel. I'm not, in terms of impeachment, unless you have I've said to people, the one person who was responsible for the impeachments of Donald Trump is Donald Trump. It's not something you decide to do. It's what violation of the Constitution he engages in. So that's not something you say, oh, we're going to impeach him. Well, but you can have the power of subpoena to get information from these agencies of government who are not supplying any information.
So yeah, you saw that little tidbit there. A little bit of confidence from Nancy Pelosi when they win the midterms. Well, I want to dive into this JD Vance polling because it's pretty interesting. Check it out.
Chances. I will just note it is never too early to talk about political rights because these guys are running already, even if they haven't formally declared. They're already running, and J.D. Vance is running well ahead of the field. I mean, take a look here. Top chances to be the 2028 GOP president nominee, the prediction market odds. Look at this, J.D. Vance, 48% chance. Nobody else is even close. Marco Rubio is way back at 12%, and no one else is even above a 5% chance of being the 2028 GOP nominee. J.D. Vance is like Mario Andretti, and Marco Rubio and the rest of the field are like going around in go-karts at this point. I mean, that's really what we're looking at. J.D. Vance is the clear, heavy favorite at this time.
And over time, depending on what happens, depending on how big this is, it could mean that some people don't actually go
There
for
you
it,
go.
right? That's one of the keys here. Is there any other polling that would back this up, this prediction market from Kalshi saying, hey, look at this number?
Yeah, this number is not coming out of nowhere. And I will note, of course, he's not at 50% plus yet. But when nobody else is even close, that makes you a clear heavy favorite. And there's a reason why. Just take a look at New Hampshire, right? The first in the nation primary. I mean, take a look here. J.D. Vance at 51%. The next closest is Nikki Haley, who's at 9. I mean, what is that? That's 42 points ahead of the pack. Tulsi Gabbard is at 8. In the first in the nation primary, J.D. Vance, running 42 points ahead. There's a reason why he's such a heavy favorite in the prediction market so far, because if you win the GOP primary in New Hampshire, chances are you're going to be the Republican nominee for president.
Like, how rare is this, or how often do you see someone so far ahead in this primary in New Hampshire?
Yeah, okay. So I saw this 51%, and all of a sudden, there was a buzz going around my head. I said, boy, this seems really weird. I can't recall anyone being this far ahead at this early stage in New Hampshire. I looked back. hitting 50% plus in the early New Hampshire polls for a non-sitting president. J.D. Vance is the only one. The only one. You can go all the way back in the polling archives, all the way back to 1980, which is the earliest I could look at. J.D. Vance is the only one ever to getting a majority of the New Hampshire vote according to the early primary polls. At this point, J.D. Vance is pulling off something historic at this time, and that is the key reason why, at this point, he is the far and away favorite for the Republican nomination. He's just way out ahead of the pack.
What does history say? And I think most of us can guess this, but what?
Now keep that in mind. He's far and way out ahead of the pack, right? Keep that in mind.
What does history say about vice presidents running for the presidency?
Yeah, I mean, just take a look. You just take a look at the last 5 sitting VPs who ran for the presidency. All were their party's nominees. Kamala Harris, Al Gore, George H.W. Bush, Hubert Horatio Humphrey, therefore HHH, and Richard Nixon back in 1960. So, yeah, you put it all together, J.D. Vance, a heavy favorite. He's had a very good 2025. We'll see if he has a very good 2026.
This is the least surprising thing, but,
Yes.
but the big numbers that you're seeing is surprising compared to what's happened in the past.
You got that right.
And we love it when you're here and give us all the information on the past.
So yeah, I wanted to show you guys that because it's quite interesting. Now, remember when they said no one's probably going to run against J.D. Vance because he's so far ahead. Nobody's even close. Now, somebody's probably going to run against J.D. Vance. Maybe a Ron DeSantis, maybe a Nikki Haley. I don't understand why she would attempt to run again. I don't see I don't see any situation in which she actually becomes a nominee, personally. But I could be wrong. I'm no fortune teller. But now I want to get into what is going on with the Democrat Party. Because remember, in past videos, I've talked about how there is a quiet Democrat civil war going on internally. There's a whole lot of back and forth, right? You got the far left versus the establishment kind of guys, and they're obviously trying to keep it quiet, but it's leaking out. And now we have a Democrat themselves in the form of Cenk Uygur actually saying it out loud too. Basically proving once again, we were right. Now let's jump into it because I find this really quite interesting, and I think it really spells doom for the Democrat Party if they lose to these folks, because as we know, far left is not very popular. Being extremely far left isn't very popular on a national stage. So this is going to be quite interesting. Check it out.
This is not a message against Democratic voters. This is the most important pro-Democratic voter message you will ever hear.
Congressional Democrats are furious that they're actually getting primaried by candidates to the left of them. More progressive candidates are trying to enter this race. Cenk, I feel like this is long overdue. What is your 2 cents?
Yeah, thank God. Now, what I want you to pay attention to in this story is how the Democrats bellyache about, oh, but we got all this money from corruption, and now they're gonna use some of our corrupt money to fight honest Democrats. Boo! We don't want honest Democrats. And of course, CNN helps them with that framing. So I've got a lot of thoughts on this. But number one, make sure you're voting against almost all Democratic incumbents in primaries, okay? They're almost all corrupt, and what they don't want you to find out is that all the donor money is the only thing they serve for 95% of those corrupt Democrats in Congress. The fact that the Republicans are 99% corrupt is not a saving grace for the people that Yaz is about to tell you about. So tell them the story.
Oh, yeah. Yep, so there's a lot of them. Not everybody is happy about this. And yeah, as Cenk mentioned, on Monday, CNN published an article about these very annoyed Democrats who feel as though they're owed another term. For context, over 24 congressional Democrats are staring down a competitive primary. So privately, many see the surge in far left challengers as an expensive headache that distracts from the.
Hold on. I want her to say that number again because that is huge.
Many see the surge. Democrats are staring down another term. For context, over 24 congressional Democrats.
Over 24 are facing primary challenges by somebody who's more far left or further far left than they are. I love it. It's the bed that they made and now they have to lie in it. The monster's coming back to get them.
are staring down a competitive primary. So privately, many see the surge in far left challengers as an expensive headache that distracts from the party's goal of seizing control of Congress next November. Very inconvenient, yes. So Democratic Representative Greg Meeks is not one who is being primaried, but many of his colleagues are facing primary challengers. So Meeks told this to CNN. He said, "I think we've got individuals who might be caught up in the moment, caught up in the internet. To me, it is them missing the boat, though, because what they're upset about and angry about is the president of the United States. And what we should be doing is uniting behind Grace Meng and Adriano Bayauta and Richie Torres." Yeah. So that alone is very crazy to me, because like, oh, you're just so caught up in the internet. And I feel like what they're doing is the Democrats for so long have been all about, we're anti-Trump. We're not the party of Trump. We're not Trump. Trump is bad. We need to get rid of Trump and get out of Trump, just whatever. Everything has been very Trump-centric for the last decade. And, Meeks is mad that now there's a different strategy. And he's like, we need to, keep focusing on Trump, because that is what the Democrats feel have been working for them. And they might feel emboldened after the primary. But anyway, Representative Juan Vargas stated this. He said, the problem is they're attacking their own. It's like, attack the other guys. We will have spent this energy and money fighting amongst ourselves, and it's really dumb. It's not dumb. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is projecting confidence, though. He said, primaries are a way of life in the House of Representatives. Our members are going to fight hard, make their case to the voters, and come back to office. All right, well, some of the primary challengers are styling themselves after New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. They're taking a note from him. Democratic Representative Richie Torres is doubting that strategy is going to pay off for them, though. Mamdani is exceptional, he said. Not every candidate who claims to be in his mold is the real deal. And of course not. That's why we have.
It's going to work in a primary, a Democrat primary. It's going to work for sure. Democrat voters are going to vote for the far left candidate that promises them everything under the sun. Now, when they get on the main stage and they're running against a Republican, they're going to get mollywopped. They're going to lose, for sure, 100%. And it's going to be hilarious to watch. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. So not only will we probably flip some seats because the Democrat Party has pushed forward a extremely far left candidate, the seats that we were basically, that are leaning in our direction are basically promised now. Over 24 of them, right? Not over 24, but yeah, the seats that were leaning in our direction, now we're promised them. And the seats that were Democrat, now we have an actual chance to genuinely flip them because of the far left candidate. So this is going to be hilarious to watch. And not only that, I want to throw this up on the screen for y'all because there's a reason why Democrats are crying about having a primary challenge. And it's because they don't have any money. Throw this up on the screen. They're in debt, $16 million debt, which this $16 million they took out in those past elections, the Virginia election, the New Jersey elections. They used that $16 million to make sure that those folks won. And so now they're in debt. All they've raised thus far is $10 million. They're in debt 15 though, and they have $12 million cash on hand. Meanwhile, Republicans have almost $100 million cash on hand, plus what Uncle Trump's war chest is, plus what Elon Musk is going to throw, in people's direction. Now, and I know some of you are saying, well, Rich, I thought you said that money isn't everything anymore in these elections. Still true. It still remains. I mean, Kamala Harris spent $2.5 billion and still lost. But I do think it matters in races where there's a new individual to get their name out. For example, in Texas, Ken Paxton, or even Wesley, right? Money is going to matter getting their name out so people know who they are. When they pull up to vote, they got to know who you are, right? And so it matters in that sense. But when people already genuinely know who you are and you're just spending a bunch of money, I don't think it matters that much. I mean, to a certain extent, because you can still convince some folks, right, to vote for you because you said a bunch of nice things. I'm sure that's what John Thune's idea is going to be, to get reelected. And I hope we the people do not reelect John Thune. Please, I don't care how much money he spends on ads. We know who this guy is. Do not reelect that guy. In those types of situations, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think so, based on what we've seen. But in other cases, it does help out, right? When you got new individuals that need to get their name out. So that's gonna be pretty big for us, in my humble opinion. So yeah, once again, Republicans proven right. There is a bunch of infighting. There is an internal civil war. There is, that thing with AOC and Chuck Schumer, even though they try to get on camera and act like nothing's going on. There is a bunch of clashing going on behind closed doors. The party isn't all together like they try to make it seem and sound. Now, granted, when they vote, they typically vote together, which I'm a little jealous about still. Us Republicans are always splintered off. The Thomas Masseys of the world, the Mitch McConnells of the world, the Rand Pauls of the world are always doing their own damn thing, which kind of annoys me a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of Rand Paul or Thomas Massey anymore, personally. When you're watching Democrats just do and get away with anything and everything, and then you got some Republicans that are just like, yeah, we're going to vote with the Democrats. It doesn't make any sense to me. So personally, I think Thomas Massey and Rand Paul should be voted out. But once again, we'll be talking about that a little bit more as we go into the new year. And obviously as we get closer to the primaries and everything else, I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about some of the candidates running, and maybe have a couple of them on the show. What do you guys think? Maybe we'll do some interviews on the show, with some of these candidates. I think that sounds like a fun idea. But anyway, thanks for tuning in as always. Greatly appreciate all of the continued love and support. Y'all stay safe out there, because I believe, it's New Year's. So I don't want anybody coming back with no accidents. Okay. Put the fireworks down. All right. Put the fireworks down and stay safe out there. All right. That's the bottom line. See y'all tomorrow. Peace and love. I'm out.